Hello, hello, hello. It is me again, your host, Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy, coming your way. It's all about being levelless. That's right. We are levelless, and levelless means success without levels. There's no reason for you to feel like you have to climb a certain level in order for you to be successful. And one thing about Levelers is we work with professionals in transition. I'm talking about unemployed, underemployed, those who want to be promoted but unsure how to go about doing it, as well as pre and post retirees. And we also work with students. I'm talking about our high school student and our college students. The whole objective is for individuals to understand their everyday natural abilities so they can discover what their abilities are, they can define what success is for them, and they can design a strategy in order to be successful. Well, listen, we have a guest here tonight that's going to help us understand about leadership. She's all about leadership, mentoring, sponsoring, and you understanding how do you move forward with what you've been given and gifted with. So, as we get started, I want to thank Mark Lee, our producer, for always being behind the scene and helping us. Now, know that we're live on Pod TV Live, we're on Roku Live, we're on Amazon Live, and we are streaming to over 200 countries. So, let us know where you are chiming in from. Put at least your first name or the country or the town or the city, whatever you like to share it with us and let us know where you're coming in from. We want you to be a part of this conversation this evening. Now, listen, you know my special guests drop nuggets, right? But they don't just drop any type of nuggets, they drop platinum nuggets. So let's bring our guest speaker here tonight, Dr. Sandra Wall Williams. Come on, let's bring her in. Let's bring her in.
Hello, how are you, Maxine? Good
All
to
right,
see
no, we have to
you.
wait on technology to catch up, but it's coming. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. Hang in there. There she is. There she is. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Hey, you can tell I'm already on cloud nine just having you here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What, Doctor? Look, Doctor Sandra, we had nothing but fun here, and as you heard me tell them, we're gonna roll out some platinum nuggets for them
All right.
so they understand leadership and know how to get involved and how they even discover the leader within them.
Yes, yes.
The leader within them. But before we get started, I have to ask you a little bit about yourself. So tell us, how in the world did you get started in this particular profession?
Wow. Well, first of all, Maxine, let me thank you for this opportunity to have me on. I count it a privilege and an honor to be here tonight. You are so special and you bless people around the world. And so I am just honored to be here. So again, thank you. So how did I get here, this position? Well, I always start off with that I truly am a small town girl from a little town called Rockingham, North Carolina.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. More specifically,
Uh-huh.
my community is called Little Philly. And so I say that because I did not grow up seeing a lot of people that look like me in leadership. But one of the things that my dad always taught us is my dad taught us that whatever you do, you get the highest degree in it because no one can take your education away from you. And so as I moved forward and I went to North Carolina State, go Pack,
Yes, yes,
go Pack. And so went to NC State, majored in math and statistics and as an undergrad. And then in graduate school, I majored in math and my master's in math and statistics. And then I started working. And I was working in engineering, not really knowing what I wanted to do. And then I had the opportunity to teach what I had been engineering. And that was my entry into leadership. So my entry into leadership started through training and development. And then I moved on from training and development to leading training and development to leading training and development enterprises. I was at several different technology companies. And then not recently now, it's been about 6 years, retired. And I retired from being the senior vice president for all 58 community colleges in the state of North Carolina. And I was over technology, systems, data, information security, all of your distance learning, everything that had to do with technology basically was my responsibility for what we call the Great 58. So out of that came a level of leadership that I work with women today. So in my current profession, when I retired, I decided to start my own professional and personal development company where I support women through mentorship and coaching and training, those women that want to move up to their next level of leadership.
Right. Wow, Dr. Sandra. This is phenomenal. So see, ladies and gentlemen, you've already heard that she's already level-less, right? Level-less is success without levels. You know, she's been moving, but I guarantee you it's been on her own terms. I can just sense it and feel that it's been on her terms, and because she knows, and not only that, she's also led. She hasn't told us about that part of her yet, but she'll get to that.
Yeah.
We can see you glowing. But this evening, Dr. Sandra, I know we're going to be talking about leadership. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I'm hearing you say, even in all of the progression that you've made in your life, that you put a vision in place.
Yes.
You saw yourself excelling. You saw yourself succeeding. So tell us some strategies that you used as you were putting that vision in place, because that's what needs to happen today. We always should have a goal, and we should see where it is that we're going. As they say, Stephen Covey, right? With the end in mind, start at the beginning. So help us to understand some strategies that you put in place that has helped you to create a vision.
Well, I will tell you. And so here's what I want to do. You know, when I talk about vision a lot, Maxine, and when I do, people are like, well, I can't figure out what the vision is for my life. And I don't know what to do. Well, I want to demystify something. Remember that I'm a teacher. Remember that I'm a teacher. So I want to be able to make sure that when we leave here tonight, you've got some concrete strategies, right?
Right.
Here is one of the first ones. Stop trying to have one vision that covers everything in your life. Okay. You're not a company. We are not widgets. We're not widgets. So we're people. And as people, you have several aspects to your life. Your work. You have so for example, you have your professional life, you have your spiritual life, you have your relationship life, you have your personal life. Here's what I've come to understand. And that is, you have to have a vision for every area of your life. Okay. So when you think about the different areas of your life, you should have a vision for your professional life, a vision for your career. You should have a different vision. Okay. It may be similar, but you should have a different vision. For example, for your financial life, you should have a vision for your personal life, your health. Okay. Your emotional self, your marriage. I mean, you know, when you think about everywhere that you are, there should be vision for that particular place. You know, so many times we struggle with things like purpose and goals because we're trying to limit ourselves in a little box for a little vision. Well, here's the thing. God didn't create anything small, including you.
Say that again.
Yes, ma'am. God did not create anything small, including you, which means that the vision for the different areas of your life, it is big vision. And in order to be able to accomplish the goals that go with that vision, you've got to make sure you know what area that you are looking at. So, for example, when I am working on my physical self, okay, so my physical vision for my life, right? Then I know I've got to have things like exercising and eating right. So I've written a vision for that. When I'm looking at my financial life, like right now, I'm at a different level when we talk about finances because I'm looking at leaving a legacy. So that's a little bit different than working. So I'm looking at leaving a legacy for my son. So I have a vision for that. Okay.
Right.
Different than so if I'm looking at my spiritual life, I am a minister. I'm an ordained minister and elder in the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. So when I look at my spiritual life, there's a vision for that. So every area of my life has vision, and yours should be the same. You should not try to compartmentalize yourself to one vision in a box, because what that does is it makes your goals too vague. When you try to be very, very high, people say, well, be high level with your vision. When you're high level with your vision, then your goals are going to be high level. They're not going to be specific, and you're not going to be able to meet them. What does that do? That leads to your frustration, and you start to ask yourself, am I walking in purpose, or I'm stuck? You're stuck because you don't have your vision. Your vision is not specific enough such that you can have specific goals, such that you can reach those goals for that particular area of your life. So as the Bible tells us, without a vision, people perish. So you wonder why you're stuck, is because you need vision in every area of your life.
Dr. Sandra, you just didn't say that, did you?
Yes, I did.
Every area?
Every area.
And listen, you just demystified what you just said, because a lot of times we talk about write a goal, and you got to have the goal, be specific, let it be measurable, let it be time bound and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's so essential what you just said. You should have a vision for every aspect of your life.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you write that platinum nugget down? We're emphasizing it because I want you to write it down, because this is so critical. Listen, I just don't bring guests on here for them to just talk. I bring guests on here for them to help us to understand we have a purpose, and we need to understand how to move forward in that purpose.
Yes.
And in order to move forward, you need to understand the vision that you have for every aspect of your life. That includes me. I'm not exempt. So whatever I say to you, it includes us as well. Now, Dr. Sandra has already put this in place, so we already know it works.
Yes.
You're talking about proving skill, proving results. You're not talking about something hypothetical. This has actually worked, and not only worked for Dr. Sandra, but also, trust me, she's a mentor. She's an executive coach. She's helped plenty of people, not only women, but people in general.
Yeah.
Because those who listen and they follow, you're going to see the results. So, Dr. Sandra, so tell us, in creating this vision, because some people are still stuck. How do I even create a vision? And I'm supposed to do it for every aspect of my life? Wait a minute, this is too much for me. So how do we help them to move forward from that mindset?
Okay. So when you create your vision, first of all, don't make it complicated. Okay.
Come on.
It's not complicated. Number one. Number two, it doesn't have to be one sentence. Okay. So many people say, well, your vision should only be one sentence. Let me let you in on a secret. It's your vision.
Thank you.
Whatever you want it to be. Okay. But just make it specific for that area of your life. So, for example, when I think about my coaching and my mentorship and the things that I do to support women in leadership, I have a vision of impacting through in my lifetime, impacting over 100,000 women to be able to move to their next level of leadership, whatever that is.
Right.
Okay? I may do it through speaking. I may do it through mentorship. I could do it through writing, but that 100,000 is my vision now. Now, once I reach that, hey, I'll increase the number. But here's the thing, is that once you write that vision out, and again, make it simple, and you can write it however you want, then you can attach goals to your vision. So you can't attach goals and actually achieve those if you don't have something that those goals are feeding into. So my vision for my company, like I said, is that I impact the lives of 100,000 women to be able to move to their next level of leadership. And I have certain goals that are under that. So your goals are what you take action on. Your vision gives you the direction so you'll know exactly where you're going.
Okay, let's just pause for a second here. Because I think those two things that you just said, we need to help them to understand there is a distinction between the two. So
Mhm.
let's go back through that vision piece again. Define what that is. Give it to them a little bit slower so they
Okay.
can write it down and they can hear it.
Because when I get excited, I do talk
I
fast.
do too. I talk very fast when I get excited.
Yes. So your vision gives you direction. Okay. So your vision is that place where you think about it as that place where you see yourself. Okay.
Come on.
You may not be there today. You may not be there today, but you can see yourself doing something. So I can see myself impacting 100,000 women. I can see that. I can see myself impacting 1,000,000 women. Okay. But I do a step-by-step vision. I'm kind of like I guess that's the technology in me, right? So I do step by step. So when you write your vision, what do you see yourself doing? Okay. What do you see yourself or your that desire that's on the inside of you that you want to be able to do? It could be a part of your calling. So not only could it be for your career, it could be for ministry, it could be for wherever area that you're working on. I just chose to talk about my business. So when you see that where you desire to be, where you see yourself, then you write that down. Now, when you write your vision down, the next question is, how do I get there?
Right.
What steps do I need to take to be able to get there? Now, some people call these goals. I call them goals. Sometimes I'll call it my assignment, the assignment that I have in this particular time frame of my life. So your goals, your assignment, whatever you want to call these things. Okay. And again, don't get hung up on titles and names of things, because you know what? All that does is slow you down.
That's right.
Have a vision, have a path. That's where you see yourself going. And then what are the steps to get there? Those are your goals. And then that's what you work towards. Those are the kinds of things that you work towards. So that's the separation between the two. Now, I will say, vision and goals, don't get them mixed up. Your vision has to come before you start actually anticipating and making goals. Because if you have goals and you don't know where you're going, then you're not going to end up in the place that you want to end up in.
And the whole objective is for you to become who God has created you to be and to do the things that you're required to do while you're here on this earth.
Yes.
This is how you leave your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
To understand that vision, your purpose, your passion, and then put goals against it, activities in order for you to achieve them.
Exactly.
I mean, awesome, awesome, awesome. So if we start talking about seeing the vision and seeing where it is that they want to go.
Okay.
All right. Many times, Dr. Sandra, they're not even sure who they are. So how to help? Let's help them to understand, to know thyself.
Okay.
Because that's essential.
Yes. This is my favorite. But I love talking about vision. Okay. I love helping women to get to that point. But I will tell you, you can't get there until you know who you are and what you bring to the table.
Right.
And I call this, Maxine, I call it the product of you.
Come on.
You are a product. God has gifted you with skills, abilities, knowledge, expertise, experience, anointing. God has gifted you with all of that.
Yes.
But the key is you have to know what it is. And so many times we don't realize that understanding who you are,
right,
you have to look back to see what are those things that I've had to experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What are those things that I've had to experience? Because those experiences are the things that have made you. So, I wrote notes on this one because I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything out, right? So make sure that you know who you are. And I tell women all the time that you should have your own product portfolio.
Yes.
You say, Dr. Sandra, product portfolio. I'm not talking about the stuff that you sell. Right. I'm talking about the products of you. So if you were to list out all of your giftings, all of your skills. And you know what? Don't get sort of, some people say, well, I want to be modest. No. When you are knowing thyself, you need to be just as braggadocious as you can be, because you want to be able to write down what God has gifted you with. I tell people all the time that people say, well, you have a doctorate in education. Yes, because I had to do that, because part of my vision, because who you are and your vision are linked together. Right. Part of my vision was to be able to be a professor. And that was back then, So in order to do that, I had to have a doctorate. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I went ahead and I did what it took to go ahead and get the doctorate degree from North Carolina State University. So everything I learned along the way, how to study, all the content, everything that I learned all along the way, that goes into my portfolio. That goes into the product of Sandra. So I asked her to know thyself. You have to know yourself in terms of your skills. What are those things that you know how to do? Okay. You have to know yourself in terms of the knowledge base you have. What knowledge, what body of knowledge and expertise do I have? You have to, of course, your education. What are all your certifications, your degrees, all of those things? And you might say, well, I've worked all my life. Okay, I haven't been to college. But you know what? You did some training on your job.
That's right.
There was training that you did. You may not think it's important, but that training is what built you to be able to do the job that you're on. What are some experiences that you've had? And what have you learned from those experiences? All that adds to who you are. When you talk about knowing thyself, there's a connection between knowing yourself and your vision. Because see, remember that I said earlier, Maxine, that your vision is where you see yourself.
Right.
So if there is a gap in where you see yourself and what you know how to do, that means you've got to fill that gap. It may be education, it may be experiences, excuse me. It may be experiences. It could be any number of things, but whatever it is, you've got to fill that gap so you can do what is necessary to move forward in your vision. So just like with the vision, I said, the different every area of your life has a vision. Every person should have a portfolio of your skills, your knowledge, your abilities, your experiences and how they have shaped you, your anointing, your gifting. And I'm talking about a 3-ring binder with these things in it. Okay. If, for example, if you work somewhere and someone told you to write or document a process, then you know how to do some technical writing because you documented a process. You don't realize it because you were just doing your job, right?
Right.
But
right.
That's a skill. And so many times we don't take the time to do that. And then know who you are. Know who you are spiritually. Know whose you are. I tell people anytime, I am a child of God. So whether you see me in the boardroom or whether you see me in the pulpit, I'm the same Sandra that you're going to see all the time. You have to know everything that God has given you, but you also have to know who you are in him. So when I pick up the Bible and I look at the promises of God, I know those are for me, and I walk and I live those in my life as well. I get excited about that, Maxine, because you are so correct. That's the point where people sort of break down. They don't they have this vision, but they don't think that they have enough to move that vision forward. And so let me let you in on another secret. If God gave you the vision,
come on,
when he gave it to you, you were enough when he gave it to you.
Well said. And you're so right that some people, they don't embrace that. They do not embrace it. So even from the levelist perspective with what you're talking about, knowing thyself and you know your knowledge, your skills and abilities, and we take it even just, do we take all of that, Dr. Sandra, and then we help them that, wait a minute, there's another part of you you're unsure about. What about your core? What about you knowing yourself from your DNA? How do you think? How do you make decisions? How do you problem solve? All of that comes in through that assessment that we do to help them to know themselves even further. And that same information can become a part of their portfolio Because guess what? It can become a part of your performance review. It can become a part of your resume. It can
Yes.
become a part of what you tell and your stories and marketing when you're interviewing. So there's
Mm-hmm.
so many aspects of what we're talking about this evening that you can use to move you forward for the
Yes.
rest of your life.
But
It doesn't just stop.
yes.
It's a continual. And that's what levelers is, right? Success
Mm-hmm.
without levels. So you continue to succeed. So, Dr. Sandra, you are just hitting it right on the head. As they say, the nail would on the head, right? But you are so right when it talked about you need to know these things and you need to put them in a portfolio for yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
love this. I love the fact that you say know you, know thyself, and that's critical. And I
Mm-hmm.
always say you are the brand,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
brand is you.
That's right.
The brand is you, and you are your CEO. And when you
Mm-hmm.
know thyself and you're building your portfolio, you carry yourself that way as well. You are the CEO of you, and that's how you present yourself. That's what I'm hearing you say. All of this is
That's
just
it.
coming right together, right
That's it.
together.
That's it.
Oh my gracious!
Can I
Now,
add something?
go ahead.
So, when we think about you being the brand and building that portfolio, just remember this, that every experience you have, the
Come
good, the
on.
bad, and the ugly, every experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly, builds that portfolio. It builds you. It makes you ready for that next level of leadership that you are getting ready to go into. I talk about leadership. I'm a leader at every level. I lead my own company. I'm a corporate director for 2 companies, which means that people pay me to be on their boards. I am a trustee at Wake Tech. So I've done the different levels of leadership, and now I'm at that highest level of leadership. And in every single one, you have to know your skills and abilities and what you bring to the table.
Oh, I love it. And don't just wait on them to invite you to the table. So see, when you know thyself, you
Mhm.
invite yourself to the table.
There you go.
You invite yourself to the table. Volunteer to be, like you said, on boards. Volunteer to be a part of a committee. Volunteer to be part of a forum. Volunteer to speak. That's how you get the chance for individuals to know who you are. And
Mhm.
Dr. Sandra, you haven't said it, but I know you're thinking it. And I've heard you say this before. You do not have to have a leadership title in order to be a leader.
That's correct.
The
That's correct.
leader is already you.
The leader is already you. Leadership is about influence. People think that leadership is about having a big, strong title in front of your name. And titles are great, because you work hard and you get those titles and they're great.
Right.
But if you don't have, you can have a title and no one's following you. So if you have a title and no one's following you, then you're not a leader. You're just a person with a title. A leader has influence, meaning that people will follow what you are doing. Okay. Dr. Maxine is a leader because you're here, you're listening, right? All right.
Right.
She's a leader. So, and you're listening to what she's saying. You listen to the people that she brings on her fabulous show. So when you think about leadership, know that leadership is not about titles. Leadership is about influence. Those people that you are influencing based on, again, your knowledge, skills, abilities, anointing, experiences, and everything about the product of you.
About the product of you.
Mm-hmm.
There was a presentation I had done. Is called "Be the CEO of You."
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, and I do it not only for adults, but I also cater to the youth. We're talking about those in high school and those who are in college, because if they learn at their earliest age, and you already know, if I had known this at 17, what I know now, no telling what I would be doing, no telling where I would be at.
Dangerous. We'd be dangerous, Maxine.
That's right. And listen, there's no stopping us now. We're unstoppable at this level. Just think, had we known that at 17. So that's why God gave me the assignment. Like Max saying, I need you to start leading my youth for them to understand who they are from their core at their earliest age possible.
That's good.
They don't have to be a teenager to be a leader. You can be a 5, 6, 7-year old and have those leadership tendencies, and they start surfacing.
Exactly.
And so I'm loving what you're talking about, is that, and many times people do get hung up on a title. Mm-hmm. Even when I'm coaching individuals who's in transition and they try to be promoted, and I'm like, don't worry about the title. What are the roles and responsibilities you see yourself doing?
Exactly.
That's what we look for. That's what we gravitate towards.
Mhm.
And the role, the title of the role can change at any point and at any time.
Mhm.
And they'll give you a title inside an organization, and you'll have a totally different title outside of the organization. So don't
Exactly.
get hung up on the titles. Think
Mhm.
about the roles and the responsibilities and the influence that you have around what it is that you're presenting.
That's
I
good.
love it. I
That's
love
good.
it. Listen, you all should have written plenty of platinum nuggets in these last 5 minutes, because I mean we dropped plenty of them. I want to ask you, what platinum nuggets have you picked up that you know you can share with someone else? So
Mhm.
put it in the comment and let us know what you're going to be taking away and start using. I had Antonio, he let me know that he was here. He's calling, I think he's from South Dakota.
Oh,
Yeah, Antonio's from South Dakota. We have Jacqueline Jeter. She's here listening. And G. Spencer is also here listening. You all come on, ask questions, or share us some information that you all have about leadership or something you've experienced. Let's make this a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way conversation. So it's all about how can we move forward in doing what we know to do, being who we are.
yes.
So that's what it's all about. Dr. Sandra, I am just loving this conversation.
Me too. Me too.
I tell everybody, listen, when you come on the Life Strategy Show, I am not interviewing we. We're just going to have some girl talk or a chat, but we're going to make sure that we leave people with information they can take
Yes.
back, they can share it, and they can start implementing immediately. We are
Yes.
transformational speakers and coaches and mentors. We believe in how can we help someone transform into who they were already created to be?
That's good.
Basically, is what it is. I know the other thing that you do well, not only leadership and influence, but Miss Dr. Sandra, you know how to build relationships. I think I've been knowing you for at least 5, 6, 7 years, and I met you in several different organizations. And every time it's like I'm in awe every time I hear you speak. So, talk to me about building relationships. What are some of the strategies that we need to put in place in order to build these, not just a relationship, but
Mhm.
strong relationships?
Well, one of the things that I tell people all the time, and all of this goes together, the vision, the knowing yourself, and the building relationships, is that just like in every area of your life, you have vision.
Right?
In every area of your life, you should have mentorship. Okay, let me get that. Let me make sure you kind of breathe on that one. Because so many of us have like one mentor, and you're like, oh, that one mentor, she's my mentor, or he's my mentor. That person cannot be everything to you.
That's right.
For every area in your life where you have vision, you should have a mentor in that area. I
Mm,
I focus on leadership. So women that are a part of my tribe, they are here because they want me as a leadership mentor. They want me to help them to get to their next level of leadership. Okay. But for example, my husband and I, we've been married 33 years, right? But we have mentors. Thank you. We have couples that are mentors to us as in that relationship. Okay. So when you look at the areas of your life, you have to be strategic about the relationship. I need to get this. You have to be strategic about the relationships that are going to feed that area of your life. So if you are in business for yourself and you don't have a specific business mentor, then you're losing out.
mm,
If you desire to be a millionaire, say, for example, you say to yourself, I want to have $1 million business. Well, if you don't have a mentor or a coach who already has $1 million business and can show you how to get there, then you're losing out.
right.
Relationships, I know this may not sound as good as it should, but it's true. Sometimes relationships are built, and there are other times when relationships have to be bought. And what do you
Mm,
mean? Whoa, Dr. Sandra, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is relationships that are built, These are people that you've known them, you've worked with them, and they can be mentors. They can be people that can mentor you in different areas of your life. But when you're trying to learn something and you're trying to take yourself to another level, when you're trying to take yourself to their next level in your business and your career, when I say relationships have to be bought, that means you must invest in yourself.
Yes.
You may have to invest in coaching. You may have to invest in tools that would help you, as you're going along. You may have to even invest in mentorship. So when I say relationships have to be bought, what I'm saying there is you have to invest in yourself. I cannot tell you how much I have invested in myself. I want $1 million business. All right. But I mean, when I say I want $1 million business, that means that I have to invest in myself so I can have the relationship with someone as a coach or a mentor who
Right.
can mentor me to that point. Here's my thing. So many times we have these big, I call them 8x10 visions of what we want. We have
Right.
these big 8x10 visions, but we're trying to stick that 8x10 vision in a 5x7 frame, and you wonder why it's not working.
Exactly.
Okay, that's because if you are going to move to your next level in leadership or whatever in your business or whatever area it's in ministry, you must invest in you. So yes, develop relationships. I believe in going to different things where I can network, where I can meet new people. I like going to conferences. I don't go to the same thing all the time. Actually, I was in a conversation about a couple of weeks ago, and I was thinking about going to this conference again in August. It's a conference that's held twice a year, and I was going to go to it again in August. And this young lady who is much wiser than I feel she's much wiser than I am in terms of her business, she said, well, Dr. Sandra, think about that. When you start going to the same thing all the time, are
Right.
you getting anything new?
Right.
So thing, you want to start going to different conferences, all of these different things that will afford you the opportunity to build new relationships and see what kind of relationships that you can have to invest in you. Okay, those are those bought relationships. Bought relationships. I know it sounds kind of you don't really want to buy relationships, but you know what? It's all about investing in your future.
And no, it's not. It doesn't sound because a part of level list, we use the 5 Ds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is discover who you are, is define success for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
is to design a strategy, which means what you just talked about, a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Then is develop yourself. And so that's what you're talking about. You have to develop yourself. I've been developing myself probably since the age of 2021. I didn't know how to do all of that prior to them, but I never will forget this conference I had gone to, and I saw on the table a book. It was called The Promotable Woman.
Ooh, that sounds
And I
good.
thought, ooh, I might need to get that because I
Mhm.
want to be promoted. Now I need to know how to become right, put myself in a
Mhm.
position to be promoted. I read that book. I did what the book told me to do. And I mean, I started creating positions that did not even exist.
I'm writing that down.
Yes, the promotable woman is what, and I mean, this you're talking about at least 30 years. And Dr. Sandra, look, I keep it on my table.
I gotta get that. I'm gonna get that one.
Yes, I keep it on my table because it taught me so much on how to present myself, how to prepare myself to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that you want to be promoted, then you need to allow yourself to be found.
Yes.
People are not going to know that you have these qualities and abilities and skills
Mm-hmm.
and talents and strengths if you don't know how to position yourself to be found.
Exactly. You said something, Maxine, earlier. You said about volunteer. You
Yeah.
know, one of the things that would hurt me to no end when I was in corporate in the workforce
Mm-hmm.
was somebody saying, and I quote, "That is not in my job description."
Ooh, wee.
When
Yeah.
you make when someone says that, you have just gone like, sure, it's
Damn. That's
down
right.
in my book, because I tell people all the time too that when you're on the job, start volunteering for things that are not your job description. Now
That's right.
you're going to do your job. You're going to do the work. But
Right.
volunteer for those things that are outside. You know why? Because that's where you meet people and you develop those different kinds of relationships. I have a relationship with one of my mentees, and I won't call her name, but she was in a place. She said she came to this particular event. This has been many years ago. She came to this particular technology event because she saw that I was speaking. It was out of her comfort zone, but she came anyway. And she said she had one goal, and that was to leave with me being her mentor. When someone walks up to me and says, will you be my mentor? Back then, I never say yes. But when she told me her story, I said, okay. I didn't know what else to say to her. You know? And today, when I look at how she has moved up, how she has moved forward, how she has in terms of her job and her own company, because she has both. You know, it just amazes me what we do when we step out of our comfort zone, when we develop relationships, when we go to different kinds of events that we wouldn't normally go to. But here's a nugget. Here's a strategy I want to make sure that you all get as well. When you go to an event, have a plan of what you want to get out of it before you get there.
Come on.
Don't just show up at an event. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to this conference, or, oh, I'm going to this training, or, you know, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. So and so speak. That's great. But what 3 people do you want to meet when you get there? Right. Look at the agenda. Look who's speaking. Look what's going on. Is there something you want to learn before you leave? Have a plan for how you're going to use the information. That's what relationship building is all about. Relationship building is strategic. Relationship building is all about planning, but you have to know what it is that you need, again, based on what that vision is based on that vision, right? You have to know what it is that you need so that when you go to these different places and you find and you position yourself, that you're positioning yourself and you're getting exactly what you need.
You know, it all boils back down to the vision.
Mm-hmm.
When you know the vision, I always back the vision, because the vision is where you create the plan or the strategy. The strategy is where you put the steps in place in order to know how to continue to move forward.
Yes.
That moving forward is developing yourself, is going to conferences and to summits and to workshops and making the calls and necessary calls and doing the follow-up. All of that is a part of it. And building relationships doesn't always happen overnight.
That's right. That's right.
You have to nurture those relationships. It can't be you call them this month, you don't call them again for another 6 months. You know, there are things that you need to do in between in order to build that relationship. I love how the young lady stepped out of her comfort zone, and she said her whole objective was to have you to leave, you being her mentor. And she approached you. She held that conversation with you. She shared her story with you, and you felt it.
I did. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you felt it. And the universe said yes to you.
Yep.
And you paid attention to the universe. And that's another strategy that we must adhere to. We hear many things, but don't ignore what you're hearing from your heart.
Exactly.
You know, so
That's
good.
That's good.
Oh my gracious.
That's good. Woo.
I know. I get all
I do.
I get so excited. I have to calm myself down. You know, you are the person that asking the questions, right? You know, with the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, the leadership, the vision, you know, and knowing thyself, we can't help but, you know, please take heed to the platinum nuggets that have been shared with you this evening. We talk about moving to the next level, but if you're not interested in moving to a level per se, it could be lateral. Don't always look at something going upward. It could be lateral. And the whole objective we want you to understand is continue to move forward in your purpose. Don't ignore your passions. Don't ignore the dreams that you had. Always see how you can position yourself in the vision that you're seeing.
Yes.
Is it 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And who needs to be a part of that vision? You can't tell everybody your vision.
Ooh, say that one again.
You cannot tell everybody your vision, because sometimes they want to take that train and they want to run it off the track before you can even get started. Hello.
And the other thing, Maxine, is you can't tell everybody your vision, but you also can't take everyone with you as you are moving forward in your vision. Because sometimes you try to take people with you and they're not ready, it could kill them. And what I mean, they're just not
and
ready.
it could stop you. It could stop you.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily stop you, but it could stunt your growth. It could stunt you continuing to moving forward, because it could halt you. Like I had something that happened, it halted me for 5 years.
Wow.
You know, yeah, but you have to be conscious of it. If you're not sure, some things can look like it's a part of your vision, but it really is not. If you start paying attention to it. So that's why you have to, pay attention to your spirit and what your spirit is guiding you to do. And Dr. Sandra, you believe this like myself. Journal what you're hearing.
Yes.
Write it down. That's a part of what? Writing the vision and making it clear, so those who can see it can help you move it forward and become a reality. So don't ignore what you're hearing and what's dropping into your spirit, and don't try to keep it all in your brain either. Put it in that journal, whether you're going to speak it into your microphone and record it, whether you're going to actually write it, if it's a song, if it's a poetry, however it's given to you, then record it some way, record it.
Yes. So I have journals everywhere. I mean, I have notebooks. When I see them, I'll go to a store and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty." My brother tells me he doesn't have to go to the office supply store. He can just come over here, because I love.
You have it all.
Yeah, but that's the teacher in me. But journaling. You said, Maxine, journaling is so important. Writing it down brings a different kind of accountability for that particular vision. I write down everything. I have journals and other books. I'm working on something right now that I'm going to give my son at some point, things that the Lord has given me for him. And I've put them down in a book, but just write it down, because when you write it down, there's a level of accountability within yourself that you're going to get this done. And write down that vision. Write down all the vision for every area of your life. Write down your goals. A lot of people do vision boards. I love vision boards. I'll be frank with you, I don't do them every year, but I tell you what I do every year is I have a vision book. Some people have a vision board. Well, I have a vision book. And in that vision book, I'll have like a picture of something that's something I may want to do in that year. And under it, I talk about how I'm going to make it happen, because I believe that you should have a plan with those pictures. Putting pictures on a board for a vision board is great, but it's just an activity.
Right.
When you actually have a plan that goes with those pictures, now you're doing something. Now you're working. Now you've got some goals and things you can work towards that vision that you now have put on that board. And now when you have the steps, the plan on how you're going to get there. And here's the thing. If you don't know how you're going to get there, that's where relationships come in. That's where you go. You seek out those relationships that can help you.
And, as you were talking about that vision book, because I'm a visual learner, right? Because I can see the book. And so as you were talking about the vision book and I saw the picture, and you might have a plan underneath and you're unsure how to actually get there. But guess what? When you're building those relationships, plug in that name of that person that you met that can help you, because you already have it laid out. Opposed to just make a business card and say, okay, I need to contact them. What am I going to do with it? Now you associate it with that vision and with that plan, those steps or those actions or activities that you need to do. And now you know who to continuously to follow up with.
I call what you just described, Maxine, as your own personal board of directors. Okay.
There you go.
Own personal board of directors. So for everything that you need to do, every part of your vision in every area of your life, you've got that vision, you've got the goals. So then write in another column, who are the people that who is a person? Start with one person, then you'll get to, and keep moving forward. Who are the people that I need to have? Those are the people that become your personal board of directors. If you want to take your business to that next level, then who's going to be the coach, the mentor that's going to help you do that? If you want to take your career, who's going to be the person or people that will help you do that? You, just like a company has a board of directors that governs it, you should have a personal board of directors that feeds into and that pours into your life as well.
Right. And you know what, so one of the things that we know as coaches and leaders and mentors and all of that is that we have the ability for you all to reach out to us.
Yes.
So you see Dr. Sandra's information is running across the screen, drsandraspeaks.com. That's one way of getting in contact with her. And then we'll have another one, iwillmoveforward.com. And Dr. Sandra, tell us a little bit about what that is, iwillmoveforward.com.
Well, iwillmoveforward.com gives you the information about Teach Academy. Teach Academy. Teach is an acronym for Train and Equip for Active Christ-like Holiness. It is a biblically based ministry development, leadership development, and career development academy where I work with women on those three areas. And so in that, we meet on a weekly basis and we use everything that we have, meaning your gifts, your skills, your abilities, all those things we talked about in the product of you, we use all that to be able to move you forward. So in the academy, there are classes, there are live, some are on video. It just depends on what it is that we're working on. This particular, right now in the academy, we are working on expanding your relationship with God, because when you expand your relationship with God, you expand yourself everywhere else in your life, in your ministry, in your career. You expand yourself everywhere else. So Teach Academy is always open, meaning that membership is always open. And if you go to iwillmoveforward.com, click on Not a Member, and it will explain to you everything about the academy.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you already see that going across the screen, so make a note of it. And then for those who are still trying to figure out what do I want to be when I grow up, that's where the ability assessment comes in at. We have it for students who are in high school, unsure what direction to take in their career path, even what electives to even select while they're in high school, so they'll be ready to move into entrepreneurship or become a leader, or even how do they position themselves on a resume and in an interview, because they need summer jobs. Let's not wait until they graduate. Let's prepare them now. And so that assessment will help them to do that. And then the adults, there's still some time, let's face it, with the way the world is and all of the layoffs and all of them promoting from within, how are you positioning yourself? Is it a blind spot that you have that you're not even sure of? Dr. Letitia is saying this is good information, and Dr. Letitia is going to be here next week with us. She's going to be doing Speak Life, so she's going to take us. She's going to keep us moving forward with all the information that you are receiving tonight. So you can't help but to understand that this assessment is beyond just personality. It's all about your abilities, the ones that you were born with, that nobody had to teach them to you. So let's not forget about that. And there is a link that's going to be on the bottom of the page. It's a 15-minute discovery call. Hey, give me a call. Let's talk about your abilities. Dr. Sandra, with all the things that you've done and where you position yourself in life, what would you have told your 17-year-old self based on what you know now?
I thought about that question a long time, and so many things went through my mind, Maxine, so many things. But you know what? The one thing that I would say to my 14, 19 year, whatever teenage self,
right,
is to keep God in everything. I know that sounds like, oh, that sounds all spiritual, but you know what? When God is not there, you're not going to succeed anyway. I've learned that. I've grown that. I teach that as well. And one of the things that I learned from my former pastor, he's gone to be with the Lord now, Bishop L. Fode Farrar. Bishop Farrar used to always say, and again, this is one of those disruptive kind of statements, right? Bishop Farrar would always say, you can't put God first. What do you mean? Can't put God first? And he would say, you have to put God in everything. Everything. He said, because when you put God in a hierarchy, meaning you put him first, then whatever is second could possibly take his place.
Right.
And I thought about that. And so now, when whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's boardroom stuff, whether it's writing a book, whether it is coaching, mentorship, whether it's leadership, regardless of what I am doing, God is always in the center of it. God is always there, because I've learned that when you keep God in everything, the scriptures are true. He will direct your path. The Bible says in Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all thy ways, and he will direct your path. That is true. The Bible teaches us that all things work together for good, so for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So when the bad things happen in my life, it's still working out for my good. I actually taught that this morning and within Teach Academy. And so when I think about what I wish I would have known, because I'll be 60 my birthday, right? When I think about my teenage self, what I wish I would have known then, I wish I would have known how to be able to just keep God in everything regardless. Let him guide you. Pray, have that prayer life, have those accountability partners in your life, right? Listen to the wisdom of people who have experienced where you're going. Hear their wisdom. Always listen to the wisdom of the word. And I know that sounds super spiritual, but I will tell you, you know what? You cannot do it. You can't. I have learned that whether I'm in the boardroom, whether I'm in the pulpit, regardless of where I am, who God has made me brought me there, and I'm not going to take that away from my life. So that's what I would tell. Keep God in everything.
Yes. And I'm going to put a period at the end of that. Because that is so true. And I remember, Dr. Sandra, when I was getting ready to leave home at the age of 17 to go into the world, right? Mm-hmm. I had not been baptized. And all I could think of, I have got to be baptized before I leave home. Wow. I need the covering over my life as I enter into this world. And I was leaving a small town, small town in West Virginia, headed to Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
And I had a close friends and everything there, but the world was getting ready to open up. And I had no idea what I was going to be faced with. But I'm thankful that I was with a family that definitely believed in the Lord.
That's good.
And so me getting baptized only solidified what God's plans were for me once I got there, because he used me in a mighty way. And so, so put God in everything that you do. I love it. Don't make him the head or the first. Put him in everything that you do. And we are believers. I am a believer, and I don't hide. I don't hide behind it. I am a believer. And I tell everybody that, because had it not been for him covering me in things that I've done, I don't know what I would be.
Exactly.
As simple as that.
Yes.
And that's where we get our strengths. Our strength. That's where we have our faith, when we step out on faith and do the things that's guiding us to do what we need to do. And that's the other thing, while we're sitting here telling you the platinum nugget, is to hear what's being said to you, and then write it down, because it's solidifying itself in your heart. Write it down. Yes. Dr. Letitia said, yes, we listen. And next week, y'all get ready. You think this is powerful this week? We might be shouting next week. Speak life with Dr. Letitia. No telling what we getting ready to get in for. She's listening to this and she's getting ready. God always uses you ladies in a mighty, powerful way. I'm so thankful that I have built relationships with you all. Yes. And we all have the relationship with the Almighty. I am so thankful for that. So as we get ready to close, what would be your final closing remarks you'd like to say?
Well, final closing remarks, always know that God has gifted you with everything that you need to do whatever he has given you to do. And the other thing is, whatever you've been through in your life, God doesn't waste anything. So he allowed it to happen because you need it at some point. What you learn from it, you will need at some point in time in your life. So keep moving forward. Don't allow anyone to stop you. Just keep moving forward. Have that vision. Know the product of yourself, who you are and whose you are, and then develop those relationships that help you to move forward.
Well, Dr. Sandra, I thank you so much for being my special guest. Ladies and gentlemen,
you.
you have heard some phenomenal platinum nuggets this evening. And remember, Levelless is about success without levels, is to know your worth, to advocate for yourself, and to continue to succeed on your terms. We believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. And our next week's speaker is going to be Dr. Letitia Nicole Betty. And we're going to be welcoming her next week to talk about Speak Life. So get ready and let's come back, meet at the same place, same time, same station. See you then. Have a great evening. Thank you, Dr. Sandra.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Taking a chance.